This Thursday night props edition of the Sports Gambling Podcast is presented by WynnBET. WynnBET is now live in Arizona, Colorado, Indiana, Louisiana, Michigan, New Jersey, New York, Tennessee, and Virginia. From boosted same-game parlays to live in-game odds, WynnBET has what you need to win. Sign up today, bet $100, and get a $100 free bet at sportsgamblingpodcast.com/WynnBET. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/WYNNBET.
This is Jerry Glanville, and you're listening to SGPN. Let it ride, brother.
Cox.
He's one of those guys who will get penetration.
Welcome everyone to the Sports Gambling Podcast. I'm Sean, second the money green with my partner in picks, Ryan, Real Money Kramer. What's happening, Kramer? Dong. Oh, sorry, wrong button. Dong. Sorry, I don't know what it is.
I'm assuming that's a compliment, right?
Of all the sound drops, dog is obviously great, but the Chris Collinsworth, and maybe I'll get burned out.
Well, Sean,
when I sat down to do the show, my face lit up because I was like, "Oh, we got the Collinsworth sound drop back on the board."
And also, just kind of leaning into the point I made on the college football show, like there are a lot of people mimicking behavior out there, and one of the ways to find out is to see how they handle a good sophomoric joke, Sean, because a lot of these squares in the sports gambling space. They're not laughing at Dong right now. That's all I'm saying. All right?
You can't take yourself this seriously. We're talking about sports. We're talking about gambling.
Well, of course, Sean.
We're dedicating an entire episode to Thursday night props. I mean, it's truly
#Legends only.
One of the highlights of my Twitter feed is me quote tweeting news, and oftentimes it's done with the Chris Collinsworth dong emoji, aka the eggplant, to show you that a player is about to go off, like Ramondre Stevenson. Obviously, he's an eggplant guy. Obviously.
Yeah, maybe that's a new series. Our eggplant guys going into fantasy DFS.
Chris Collinsworth, the gardener, master gardener, Chris Collinsworth.
All right, we got an awesome show today. Going to be joined by Joe Fann in just a second, but we're going to be talking props, first touchdown, WynnBET, build your own bet, and of course, when we're talking props, talking about building our own bets, get out the circular saw, get to work, building a structure of EV plays to cash in big. Of course, you're doing that over at sportsgamblingpodcast.com/WYNNBET. I mean, I just rattled off the WynnBET states. If you're in a WynnBET state, or even just visiting a WynnBET state, Louisiana, Michigan, New Jersey, New York, Tennessee, Virginia, Colorado, Arizona, those are now my favorite states because they have WynnBET. sportsgamblingpodcast.com/WynnBET. Of course, bet $100, get a $100 deposit bonus. And if you hit the longest odds bet, aka build your own bet, a live in-game parlay, whatever it is, if you hit the longest odds, you also get a $1,000 free bet. So much fun over on the sportsgamblingpodcast.com/WynnBET. Parlay wheel, love it. sportsgamblingpodcast.com/WynnBET. Offer subject to change. Terms and conditions at WynnBET.com. Must be 21 or older and present in the state where playthrough window is available. If you're somebody you know has a gambling problem, call 1-800-522-4700. Joining us on the line, he is a WynnBET brand ambassador, big Seattle sports guy, Mr. Joe Fann. What's happening, Joe?
Fellas, great to be back. Not a very exciting game on Thursday, but us D-Gens will dive into it anyways. Good to see you guys.
Well, hold on. You haven't seen the Panthers' sweet ass black uniforms then, because oh boy, I am ready. It's going to be lit out there in North Carolina.
Did I miss the announcement? Because they used to do those like crazy color rush where like the Jets looked like they were highlighters, and they had these ugly teal Jags jerseys.
I think they've given more liberty to the teams to have more uniforms. Maybe Joe knows better than I, but specifically, I have a list of where I'm just following the team Twitter feeds because they love to announce this. Now that every team has a social department. That's like part of their job, is showing off the uniforms for the upcoming week and making sure they have a sweet Photoshop guy to make them look as badass as possible.
Yeah, only in NFL could you get excited about a matchup of like the Panthers, Falcons, these AFC South, NFC South. Never.
It's gonna look great. The white, the black, the red to go with the black and blue.
But hey, it's football. We're gonna watch it. We're gonna get hyped up on it. Joe, I have an update for you. Breaking news. I saw Ryan yesterday, and good thing we had you back on the show, because he's like, oh shit, I got to mail out that whiskey I owe Joe. So he went out, got a nice bottle, autographed it with a personal message. You have some whiskey coming your way, thanks to the Seahawks taking down the New York Giants. This Seattle team, I mean, I think we talked on it last time you were here. Like they were like 48-1 to win the NFC. That price is plummeted right now. Wynn, though, I saw we did a future show and they were still 3-1 to win the division. Where are you at with this Seahawks team? Is it smoke and mirrors, or do you think it's sustainable?
Yeah, it's all the way down to plus 125 now on WynnBET.
Wow.
The Niners, I think, at minus 125 or 130. I do think it's sustainable because they're versatile enough to where they can sustain some week-to-week regression in any area and still be competitive and potentially beat you. They run the football well. They're one of the most efficient running teams in football. They're one of the most efficient passing teams in football. They rank top 10 in both net yards per pass attempt and yards per rush attempt. Defensively, they're in the top 5 in sacks. The secondary continues to get better with Tariq Woolen, the rookie, really the number 2 defensive rookie of the year behind Sauce Gardner, in my opinion. So when you look at all the mediocrity that surrounds them in the NFC, I think it's very justified to say the Seahawks are certainly a playoff team and could be a problem for whatever top contender they might run up against. And I can't wait for week 15 will be a rematch against the Niners. And I think it's week 14 they go to Arrowhead to play Kansas City. So they've got some huge opportunities. I actually have 2 questions for you guys. That's we can get to it, whatever. But I'll start with one right now. Is how the line keeps moving in favor of Tampa Bay. They're now 3-point favorites.
Yeah.
It's moved all the way up from 2. I don't get it. What is the logic that tells you Tampa should be a 3-point neutral site favorite over Seattle? I'm trying to take my Seattle blinders off. I watch a lot of football. I've seen the Bucs play. I don't know what the rationale is other than just public bettors wanting to blind bet Tom Brady.
Fantasy people who think Rachaad White's going to have a huge I don't get it. I even went as far to look at, we love our air yards in the NFL now, advanced analytics. Well, I looked at the actual flight miles of a flight from Seattle to Germany versus Tampa. It's only a couple hundred miles longer. And I've heard
it's
lot
significant.
It's really not though. Like it's surprisingly close. And so I think a lot of people are leaning into that crazy travel because they're like, well, I live in New York. It takes 6 hours to go to Seattle, takes 6 hours to go to Germany. It must be like 12 plus hours. And I think the travel isn't going to matter all that much. We're seeing travel matter less now than ever. Teams are coming back from London, not really being affected right away.
Yeah.
So I think they've figured that part of the game out. And to answer your original question, I think the reason is people are cute. And people are assuming that last drive from Tom Brady means he's back, or they listen to our show and they know Tom Brady's going to be sucking down some stem cells the second he gets in country.
Yeah, whatever,
he's going to be like a
whatever
superhuman.
Stuff like Kobe did over in Germany. Tom visits Germany. There's some like under the radar treatment options.
In my mind, I'm thinking like South Park, where Christopher Reeves is like chewing stem cells from babies and then turning into M. Bison from Street Fighter as he takes the field.
Well, Ryan,
I don't get it. Like,
Ryan, is it a sharp better thing? Because I'm looking at one place that has the handle 60%, 63%, but the bet percentage only 42% for the Bucs. Is this a Joe's versus pros type game? Unless we're gonna find out about something late, injury, like critical injury news or something. I dare you to find a matchup that you truly like the Bucs more than the Seahawks right now. Any position.
Yeah, I agree. And that's what I might come off as saying it's significant. I meant insignificant when talking about the travel. Yeah, it's not any further when you're talking about being on a plane 5 days before kickoff. And I wouldn't be surprised if this is sort of a pro Seahawks crowd. I think the Seahawks are probably more of a global brand than the Bucs. Now you'll have Tom Brady fans there, certainly.
Yeah.
But you're right. You look at the offensive skill players, Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, they scare you, sure. But we've watched 9 weeks of Tampa Bay Buccaneers football where they're unable to get into the end zone. They're one of the worst teams in the red zone. They are on historically bad paces in terms of their running game and efficiencies. I agree with you, right? It doesn't make sense to me. And I'm maybe just waiting for like big sharp money to come in on like Sunday morning or Saturday night to move the line closer to a pick 'em, but it just continues to go up, and I can't understand why.
Yeah, I mean, and maybe the logic is like Tom Brady has so much experience traveling over to Germany. But yeah, I mean, and even
might be dealing with some financial issues.
Yeah, he's tough times for Tom Brady. I don't know if you saw, he was like heavily into this crypto company FTX that like completely went belly up. So it's been a tough couple of weeks for Tom Brady. And if you watch that Rams Bucks game and thought like, oh hey, the Bucks figured it out, that was not the case at all. They were very, very fortunate to squeak out. If Cooper Kupp slides head first, I don't know what this line might be, because if they had lost that game against the Rams, maybe they are a dog here.
And I like one step further. We're early in the week still. Like there's no reason why this couldn't just be like a fake out move. Some big bets come in that are relatively small in the grand scheme of things, pushes the number to 3. It really doesn't make sense. I mean, I do think it's scary in that sense. As a gambler, you know what it means when a line just stinks. It means that you don't know something, which means you're the fish in this situation. And
correct.
Well, and also
they've had a plan every game on defense and offense, and I don't know if you can say that about many teams in the league this year.
Well, and I mentioned it to Kramer when breaking down the Giants game. He didn't really want to hear it, but I was saying I think there is something to, we've seen these offenses implement a ton of college related stuff, with their read option. With the zone read, like all that kind of like collegey stuff where they're running the ball more. We have quarterbacks who are running the ball more. It seems like a lot of stuff you would see in college. And so a guy like Pete Carroll with his college experience, maybe that's been giving him an edge, because their defense a couple games early on looked completely lost. And then they just all of a sudden figured it out. What do you make of the defense? Kind of just, it's like a switch was flipped where all of a sudden they're just way better.
Yeah, I think they simplified what they were doing on the defensive line. I think they were getting a bit cute, and the gap assignments were just terrible, led to huge explosives in the ground game. And everything has been solidified. I mean, Uchenna Nwosu has been a revelation as a free agent addition. 2 years, $19 million. Compare that to the 3 years, $52 million Chandler Jones got from the Raiders.
Yeah, I
Doesn't
saw
even
you
have a
tweeting
full
about
sack
that
yet this season. Uchenna Nwosu has 7 sacks. Seahawks again ranked top 5 in the entire league. I think it's 34 total sacks. 6 or 7 or 8 players have multiple. I mean, it's been coming from everywhere. Shelby Harris and that Broncos deal for Russell Wilson has been a huge addition. Quentin Jefferson has been a huge addition for them. It's been really impressive. I mean, they've quite literally been one of, if not the best defense in all of football over the last month. I'm glad we're on the same page there. I have one more question before we get to Thursday Night Football, because this is also something I feel like, what am I missing here? And it's a square play, which squares have lost all season long. It's been a bloodbath for the square plays. But if you take the Eagles money line against the Commanders, the Niners money line against the Chargers, and the Cowboys money line against the Packers, you get a plus 125. At least that's what it was yesterday on WynnBET. How does that lose? Give me one good take, other than the Packers are desperate. Give me a good take of what team might lose and why. Because I can't come up with one in either of the 3 scenarios.
Laying a touchdown with Jimmy G is.
But he's saying on the money line.
He's just money line.
No, I know, but I'm just saying like it's a Jimmy G laying a touchdown game. And so that would be my angle, like that
San Francisco as a big favorite, sometimes worrisome. I mean, the matchup is just for Christian McCaffrey.
They should be able to run the ball.
They're so bad. I mean, the tackling on that Chargers defense is insane. They should just be able to line up. I mean, this could be one of those games where Jimmy G only throws the ball 10 times, but we have seen this Chargers team do better on the road than at home. Justin Herbert also much better as a dog than as a favorite. That's the only the only angle I see.
This is the type of conversation going on in our Discord all the time. Which team fucks me?
Yeah, that's usually how it starts. And being an Eagles fan, I do like them obviously against this Commanders team, but it's a division game. They haven't lost yet. Maybe this is where they get tripped up. I don't see it, but I think of that parlay, I would guess I would be most concerned about the Chargers maybe pulling something out, but I don't know. What about you, Ron?
It would be the Chargers for sure. And real quick, one fun fact: 3 teams have top 12 DVOA units for offense, defense, and special teams. Buffalo, Dallas, and the Seattle Seahawks. So
yeah, people have been saying to me, I was on Scotty Farrell, Shake It Up, his show on Saturday on Sports Grid, and he was on the opposite side of the Seahawks Cardinals game, and he was, the common take on, or a lot of people have this take of like, oh, Seattle, they're eventually Geno Smith's gonna collapse, but I don't know. Like I feel like a lot of their games because I've had them. No, like it's not unsustainable. Like if anything in that game, the thing that was kind of like an outlier play to me was that pick six. It was like a screenplay. It was well drawn up. It was just like a weird tip ball, went exactly to the Arizona defender. If they don't have that, then they really get blown out. So just watching them, it's like, easy passes for Geno Smith, play action, Kenneth Walker, good defense. It's actually a pretty easy play.
I would go a step further. Like the Bucs, like highly rated defense hasn't shown up when they've played good offenses. So like that's we've talked ourselves into a mega whale 5-star play of the year.
Yeah.
I think my final point on this, you're going to sell yourself on the Seahawks being paper tigers on this house of cards that's going to collapse. But for that to happen, someone has to beat them. And you go down the list and you can make the same case for every team they play because the whole NFC is so mediocre. I'm still trying to convince myself that the Vikings are a good team and they're 7-1. So I get the thought of well, there's no way this is legit. But then you look around, you go game by game. It's they have all the edges against the Bucs. They have all the edges against this team. Well, and then that team sucked. So when you play that game, all of a sudden it becomes much more legit, in my opinion.
Yeah, no.
Pete Carroll's firing on all cylinders.
He really is.
He's got the defense back.
He's throwing shade at Russ left and right. Did you see the wristband comment?
So good.
Geno uses the wristband. It helps us get out of the huddle, helps us stay ahead of the play clock. We had resistance to that before, so we never did it. It's damn. Every week, Russell Wilson's just catching strays.
Get the coffin out.
It's so fun. All right, let's get to the Thursday night props before we get to that. Shout out to our merch store. That's right, holidays right around the corner, and what better way to stuff some stockings of the DGen in your life than the SGPN merch store. Go to store.sportsgamblingpodcast.com. Between now and Thanksgiving, 10% off when you use the promo code Dallas Sucks. That's store.sportsgamblingpodcast.com. Promo code Dallas Sucks. We got t-shirts, hats, hoodies, the whole nine. And check it out. Store.sportsgamblingpodcast.com. Kramer, you have the honors. What is your first prop? What do you like here?
Well, I told you he was a top 10 player in the NFL, and you laughed at me. I also now gave him a new nickname, the Hammer.
Yeah, I like it.
My Falcons were desperately missing the Hammer. Give me Cordarrelle Patterson anytime touchdown plus 115.
Ooh.
Top 10 NFL player. You saw the fierce nature of his running style. He got 13 carries. Wasn't very efficient coming back off the little injury there.
Well, he did have that one huge play that got called back too.
He was also just right off the bat. They lined him up out wide and said, go get involved in the game. If they're inside the red zone, it's not going to be Algiers. It's not going to be Huntley. It's going to be Patterson. So give me my guy.
Yeah, I'm with you. I love Patterson in this game. I think I'm going to get to these, but I also like a lot of the under on the skill position players of the Falcons because I don't think they've adjusted the prices yet for the increased Cordarrelle Patterson workload that we're expecting to see. Because to your point, he only had 13 touches last game. I know it's a short week, but I think they're going to throw everything. I think he's going to see a ton of volume. I'll start off with my first one. Kyle Pitts under 3.5 receptions. He's only gone over this number twice this season. One was against the Panthers, but again, I think Patterson is going to get more runs, get him involved in the pass game. And Marcus Mariota is kind of praying and spraying when it comes to throwing the football. And Kyle Pitts has also dropped balls. So it's a combination of 1, they barely throw the ball. 2, Kyle Pitts has been inefficient.
I've never
3,
heard that.
Marcus Mariota has been inefficient. So Kyle Pitts under 3.5.
You also personally hate Kyle Pitts.
Yeah, that's also true. We drafted him high in fantasy, and I'm really, really bitter. But I don't think he gets the 4 catches. Joe, what do you got here?
I sort of lean. You could go down the list of receiving yard totals, and I lean under on pretty much all of them. It's supposed to be ugly in Carolina. Stormy conditions, heavy winds, heavy rainfall. At least that's what I've seen. It's still a day away. Obviously, Mother Nature can shift at any moment. But to me, 2 offenses that have struggled to have any sort of consistent passing game, really outside of the games they played against each other. A couple weeks ago, it was this overtime thriller. 40 points were scored in the 4th quarter alone. Madness. So yeah, I look at DJ Moore under 58.5. I look at Drake London under 34.5. Who Drake London sort of started this season hot and has been invisible of late. I think you look at Cordarrelle Patterson at over 6.5 is probably a number I love, because I think anything that is going to be there is going to be screens, short dump off, stuff like that. So I'm with you. I lean running back sort of across the board here, and would like to fade the top pass catchers in this game and go under their totals.
So listen to this. So Cordarrelle, I have more data to talk about this 6.5. Cordarrelle Patterson has at least a target in 4 out of the 5 games he's played. In 3 of those, he has at least a catch, and every time he has a catch, he goes over 6.5 yards. He only played 39% of the snaps last week, and he got 13 carries and a catch. I like the angle. The fact that they're offering 6.5 on him, kudos to you. They recognize the hammer. They see it.
Because I think, I think they're like, it's tough for them to come up with like the projections, with like what we saw to Cordarrelle Patterson last Sunday, and then what we expect to see this Thursday. You throw in the weather aspect. I'm with you, Joe. You threw out Drake London under 34.5 receiving yards. That's my next one. I mean, if you're Marcus Mariota, are you going to throw him the ball? I mean, we saw
he had to come home and ask for more lunch money because the bully took it.
We saw Khalil Mack just humiliate him by going, "Oh, that ball you want? Yank." I mean,
Did you watch the whole play? Because it's more than that.
Yeah.
It starts with Khalil Mack like just completely sending him off his route to start the play, which shout out to the Chargers for not rushing Khalil Mack. Seems also negative EV.
Weird strategy.
But then he decides to keep the ball in bounds, and there was zero resistance to Khalil Mack stealing the ball from him. It was beautiful. And the weather aspect, and this is coming next because I'm also on the Cordarrelle Patterson over rushing yards. If this is bad weather, the handicap for the Falcons is their secondary sucks. But now they get a second PJ Walker game in bad weather. It's at a minimum, it's going to be windy. There might be rain with that wind. We know the longer turf down there in Carolina that was replaced with field turf that caused injuries to Christian McCaffrey.
Yes.
So I'm not sure how we handicap that. I do watch the youth sports a lot, and those turf fields can get slippery when wet.
One more quick on Drake London.
Oh, I'm sorry.
He did start out hot this season. Last 6 games though, he's only averaging 25.8 receiving yards, and last 3 he went well under the number of 34.5.
He peaked when he got drafted the first wide receiver, and cashed us that big 2-to-1 ticket.
Yeah.
Since then it's
kind of been downhill for Drake, and he's a physical guy, but to your point, Kramer, like he's struggling to get off the line. Like I guess he's physical in the sense that he's big and athletic, but he's not playing physical.
And it's not helping that Mariota is like, what was the number? Like 28% of his throws off target.
Yeah.
And it seems like even with his size, it's off target.
Joe, do you have any other Thursday night props you like that are jumping out at you?
Yeah, again, sticking with the game flow I expect here. I understand that Cordarrelle Patterson also, I know Ryan sort of alluded to, but that truck stick at the goal line against that poor Chargers linebacker. I don't know if that was as good as anything I've seen from Derrick Henry in a while. I think sometimes you get the big stiff arms that go viral as opposed to a dude just getting absolutely run over. That was violent. So I'm all in on Cordarrelle Patterson. I'm with you guys. But I also think Tyler Algiers is still going to have a role here. His number is very modest at just 31.5. And again, if I'm expecting this to be a ground and pound type game where passing yards are limited and few and far between, I like Tyler Algier here. Also, don't hate Donta Foreman over 53.5.
Yeah.
Where he ran wild a couple of weeks ago against the same Falcons team. So again, I'm sort of saying all the same things, just pointing out different players. I would just lean to trusting running backs in this game if you want to look for any sort of over.
No, we're lockstep, Joe, because I'm
it's like we had a pre-production meeting and Joe was in the room.
Yeah, Ryan, what is that? Iron sharpens iron or whatever.
That's
it is. Steel sharpens steel, swords, whatever the phrase is.
Titanium.
You crushed it.
High class stuff.
Yeah, I'm also on my last prop is Donta Foreman over 53.5 rush yards. He had 7 for 23 against the Bengals, but that's because they were getting destroyed and they weren't running the ball. I don't see either team really destroying the other team. I think this is going to be game script wise, kind of an ugly back and forth battle. He might not even be super efficient on his carries, but I think he's going to get a bunch of them. So 53.5 feels very good. And to Joe's point, he had 118 yards last time they played the Falcons, maybe slightly different game script, but he also had 118 against the Bucks. He had back-to-back 118 games, and then he had a bit of a dud against the Bengals, but I think that was more game script. So nice bounce back spot for Foreman here at 53.5.
You know what? I'm gonna roll just because we're in so much agreement. I was gonna give out a cute receiver prop, but we'll touch on that later in first touchdown. Tyler Algier. What I like to do is go over with the receiving and the rushing. I do think if there's a if he might be the pass catching back, and if you're telling me that Atlanta is not gonna rush for over 100 yards on this Panthers team, I'll take that bet. I think they're going to stubbornly smash the ball. And to the earlier point on the hammer, aka Cordarrelle Patterson, what I love about him is he looks like a receiver running. So you see the quick twitchiness of it. He's got the dread effect of just that makes you look more athletic and just like and then he just runs full speed into people. It reminds me a little of Marshawn Lynch. I'll never forget when Marshawn Lynch said the key to running over motherfuckers is be the one who's hitting. Be the one to initiate the contact. And I guarantee you, there's nothing worse than if you're a lineman being held up by a guard or something, and Cordarrelle Patterson's running full speed at you. That's gotta suck. I mean, I rooted for Brandon Jacobs for a long time, and he would defeat people just by running into you over and over and over again.
What was the Marshawn quote? Is like, I'm gonna get got. But I'm gonna get mine more than I get got.
Yeah,
we
used to. Do we still have the run through a
motherfucker's face?
That's still on the board.
That's buried deep, Ryan. But he also was the guy who had over and over and over. I think he says.
What was that from?
20
like an interview?
Times. Yeah, one of the few he did. But they're all classics.
Oh, I love that guy.
Talking about first touchdowns, Joe. Any first touchdown bets you find interesting?
Yeah, I haven't seen you guys since what was 2 weeks ago, and we were talking about the Ravens Bucks game, and Cade Otton let us down in the worst way. He didn't score. He barely caught a pass. He didn't even sniff his receptions or yardage totals.
I think there was at that very end of the game in garbage time, he did get one red zone look. I think he dropped it. We missed the Cade Otton game. It was against the Rams. That basically saved their season. So we were sniffing around. We were close, but yeah, kind of a whiff on that Cade Otton.
Yeah, I think Donta Foreman is a smart play. I mean, him and Cordarrelle Patterson it's the chalky plays. Again, we've talked about how much we like the running backs in this game. If you're going to go for a receiver, I think why not get juicy with it? And for me, that's Tommy Tremble at anywhere from 15 or 20 to 1. Listen, when you get down in the red zone, you like running backs, you like tight ends, and it's coming to value, especially if this is going to be an ugly game. So I think Tommy Tremble, he had a touchdown last week, 2 catches, 11 yards, but did find the end zone, as did Terrace Marshall. I just think if I'm going a receiver route, I'm going to skip the Kyle Pittses and DJ Moores. and Drake London's and go for something juicier. So I would pick Tommy Tremble, but I think Terrace Marshall, Demir Bird. You look for other names that I think offer you a little bit better odds.
Can I give
Sure.
I'm sure this guy's not on your list because Shi Smith, he's on the field for a tremendous amount of the snaps, over 80%. Sean,
Really?
We like to see that in terms of usage. It's going to be a gross game, so I just went to the guy with the tallest odds, who was on the field a lot. I wanted to. I know you're going to be playing some tight ends, so I wanted to steer clear of them. But 28-1 for Mr. Shi Smith. That's kind of my long shot. My other Panther, not a Panther at all. Falcons defense, baby. They've paid off for me before, 25-1.
Yeah,
and then,
against the 49ers.
And then I'm going to eat the chalk because Mariota's 12-1 system play, goal line back, and then Cordarrelle Patterson, if the Falcons are in the red zone, is going to score the touchdown, 6-1.
Yeah,
so of course spread my unit across those four things,
break
quarter
them
at
up
a time.
4 ways.
Yep.
So I'm going the first ever all tight end edition of first touchdown plays, minus Kyle Pitts because I hate that guy, as Kramer alluded to earlier. First up,
so you found 4 tight ends in this game and not playing Kyle Pitts.
Yeah.
Wow.
First up, Parker Hesse,
like that
for the Atlanta Falcons. He's getting. I mean, his snap share 48%, 43, 68, 71. Like
listed
he's out
as
there.
a starter.
Yeah.
Falcons list 2 tight ends as starters.
And he's one of the starters. He's a co-starter with Kyle Pitts. I think you're going to see a lot of heavy formation, even in the red zone. I wouldn't be surprised if the Falcons do it.
3 tight ends and a tackle, maybe.
All you need is one play action. Parker Hesse's 55-1. I also like the backup to Parker Hesse, McCole Pruitt, who has again, he's getting in there at least 30% of the snaps last week. He did have a catch for 6 yards, so he's a live dog for me. He's sitting around 45-1. Joe already hit on Tommy Tremble, co-sign that. I mean,
he did drop a pass too, a key pass, if I'm not mistaken.
Tremble has 2 touchdowns this season already, 2 in the last 3 weeks. He does seem to be one of PJ Walker's guys.
You can see how mad I am at the Panthers still. I'm calling Tremble dropping a pass in a game they lost by 3 touchdowns a key play.
Yeah.
Ian Thomas. Now, he didn't do anything last game. But he was out on the field
ghost
for 37%.
Of Ian Thomas.
But before that, 55%, 62, 52, and before that, every game he's had at least a catch. So he's a guy that's also live. I think we're all in a similar game script, and I think these tight ends, they both teams rely on the run. What do you do when you get the goal line? You get the 2-3 tight ends out there.
Can I also just comment on the fact that this is the first game in a long time where there were many people on this list of first touchdown that I had to look up. Giovanni Ricci, there were some guys out there where I was like, oh really? Steven Sullivan, okay.
Steven Sullivan, fun fact, was a Seahawks draft pick. He's a hybrid wide receiver tight end at LSU. They tried to make him a pass rusher.
Oh wow!
And then he got cut. He signed with Carolina. And he's now a pass catcher once again.
And he's 80-1 to be the first touchdown on Thursday night. So
what a long, strange trip it's been. All right, closing it out. Get the hammers out. Get the hard hats on. Time for Wynn Build Your Own Bet, aka their same game parlay. SportsGamblingPodcast.com/WynnBET. Kramer, you have the honors.
Oh yeah. So sometimes I bring the big payout. Not this week, but I am going to remind you that 5-1. That's what 12.5 points in the NFL on a Sunday. All we got to do.
Yeah, I mean LSU, which I gave out. That was
385.
So, I'm not one to brag. It was 385, and they were catching 13.5.
Okay, so we're talking about a 17-point dog here on a Sunday. Patterson scores a touchdown. Patterson rushes for 50 yards. Patterson gets 7 receiving yards or more, and the Falcons plus 3.5. Divisional game. They lose by a field goal. We're still covered. That's 5-1.
I don't. Where do we go?
That's a 17-point dog on a Sunday. And shout out to the members of the audience who continue to tell me they like this bit. I'll keep doing it. And thanks for and shout out to Bowser because he actually said this. He's like, I really like how you point out when it's like the same thing as a 10-1 dog or a 10-point dog.
No, it does.
Because then it puts it in perspective for me, and I end up betting more.
That's what we're here to do. Encourage people to bet more. Joe, do you have a Wynn Build Your Own Bet you like?
I do. It comes out to a nice even 10-1.
Ooh.
Okay.
I've got 1 interception for PJ Walker.
Oh yeah, I love that.
Okay.
I have got 1 interception for Marcus Mariota.
Oh, yep.
I've got 40 rushing yards for Cordarrelle Patterson. I've got 40 rushing yards for Donta Foreman, 30 rushing yards for Tyler Algiers, and an alternate under of 48.5. And that gets you to 10-1.
I don't know who screws you there. That's a good one.
No, I know. That's
Shout
a great poll question. Who screws us here?
And shout out to the chat. I can't see who it is, but pointing out that Blackshear might be the goal line back. I don't think so. That might have just been some garbage time stuff. He was a Hokie, not exactly a guy that I would refer to as a goal line back. That's Foreman, I think.
Yes. Insano is saying.
Oh, Insano. Okay.
Insano is saying in the YouTube chat, he's saying there's a lot of talk about how great Seattle is. That scares him to possibly switching over to.
I'm telling you, the handicap is that like Tom Brady's going to bring his whole team to the stem cell bar, and they're all going to be just juiced up with HGH.
Now, Research Flat Earth though, he said he made the biggest bet of the year on the Seahawks money line. He's all in on it.
See, that's interesting because
he also has some questions for you regarding the flight pass, and it doesn't prove anything regarding.
If he's taking Seattle, he would think, and he's a flat Earth guy, then he would be on the camp of wow, that's a much bigger trip. Because the reason the air miles is you cut across the north, you shorten the flight path by going over the part of the Earth that's bending or curving or whatever we're allowed to say. And then so
whatever we're allowed to say.
Well, he gives us shit. He's cool with spherical but not round. I forget what it was.
He's got a lot of hot takes on the Earth, but
he's with Pete Carroll though. He does want to know what happened to Building 7.
Pete Carroll also has some against the grain conspiracy theories. I will close it out.
Oh, please do.
This is probably the craziest build your own bet I've given out. So
how many anytime touchdowns for the tight ends are we throwing in there?
All of them, all 4.
That could have been fun, but I don't see a lot of touchdowns being scored. What I see happening is I'm with the Kramer on the Cordarrelle Patterson. I got him in there for 60 yards. And if there ever was a game that would end in a tie, it is this game Thursday night. Panthers, Falcons. It's ugly. It's 9-9. They're going to OT. Do they punt? Do they play for the tie?
Al Michaels really regrets not taking the Thursday night football angle. He
has had horrible luck with these games, these primetime games, division unders. They've all been hitting. It's just and you throw in the weather. It's setting up to be a super, super ugly game that pays 100-1.
Wow.
So I know it's tough to call your own shot with a tie, but America, you're going to see a tie on Thursday night football.
Is that it? Just a tie, or do you throw no touchdown score?
No. That's interesting. Well, I have tie and Cordarrelle Patterson. And that's 100-1, but maybe I look to add another leg to that.
Throw in if it's 9-9, throw in no touchdown score.
Yeah, I should. All right. I'll take a look about that.
This is
I'll get those prices in. Joe, always appreciate you coming on the show. A lot of fun. Best of luck to your Seahawks here.
I'm certainly gonna. I mean,
I can't
teaser
imagine.
alert, but tune into the pick show later tonight, Sean.
Yeah, I'm not done all my research, but it's tough to find an angle for the Bucks.
Oh, if they didn't, like, the last minute 50 of the game changed everyone's perception of them. I'll be honest. I'm laser focused. Sometimes the late games involve me juggling some family stuff. The wife is a Bucks fan.
Yeah,
we were at somewhere watching it. Thought the game was over. For about an hour, I thought I didn't realize the Bucks had won and covered the game.
It certainly should have been the end of the game. Ask Jalen Ramsey. He was really pissed they had to go back out there.
So like this spread, they're not favored if they lose that game.
I'm with you. 100%.
They're in first place though, so perhaps people are just being tricked by the fact that they're a first place team.
Well, Joe, always appreciate your time. Make sure you follow Joe on Twitter at Joe Fann. Check him out, all the stuff he does for WynnBET, and contributor for at Seattle Sports as well. Joe, appreciate the time, man.
Always fun chatting with you guys.
Thank you for participating in the Sports Gambling Podcast.
For the Sports Gambling Podcast, I'm Sean Stacking the Money Green, and he is Ryan.
Sean, how dare you say there won't be any scoring in this Thursday night gem?
Kramer, let it ride.